You didn't imagine it. This is how they do it. It always starts the same way. With charm, intensity, magic, and ends in a version of yourself you no longer recognize. Narcissistic abuse isn't just emotional. It's psychological warfare. Subtle, strategic, and soul-erasing. You think you're overreacting. You think you're the problem. But you're inside a cycle carefully designed to confuse, control, and break you. This is not random. There's a pattern, a blueprint, and once you see it, you can never unsee it. Today, we'll walk through the 7 chilling stages of narcissistic abuse, from the intoxicating beginning to the shattering end. If you've ever questioned your reality, if you've ever felt hollow after love, this might be the clarity you didn't know you needed. Let's begin. Stage 1, Idealization. The love bombing illusion. Stage 1 feels like a fairy tale. You're not just loved. You're worshipped. The narcissist mirrors everything about you. Your dreams, your fears, your quirks. All reflected back like a soulmate in disguise. It's intense. Fast. Magnetic. You feel seen in a way you've never felt before. You believe this person was made for you. But here's the truth, they're not falling in love with you. They're creating an image of you. One that serves their needs, desires, and ego. It's called love bombing, and it's not love. It's manipulation wrapped in flattery. Behind every compliment is calculation. Behind every gesture is control. They're hooking you in emotionally, chemically, even spiritually. So, by the time things shift, you're already attached. Your nervous system is rewired to crave their attention. And your brain starts to believe you've found the one. This isn't connection. It's capture. And once they're sure you're under the spell, the next stage begins. Stage 2, Devaluation. Death by 1,000 cuts. Suddenly, something changes. The sweet texts stop. The compliments fade. The glow in their eyes dims. You feel it before you understand it. They're colder, distant, critical. You try harder, to please, to understand, to fix it. But no matter what you do, it's never enough. This is devaluation. You're no longer the perfect prize, now, you're a disappointment. Flawed. Annoying. Needy. They start to pick at your insecurities, mock your feelings, ignore your needs. And yet, they keep you close. Just enough crumbs to keep hope alive. This psychological whiplash creates what experts call trauma bonding. You start associating pain with love. You crave their approval like a drug. They confuse you on purpose, making you doubt yourself, doubt your memory, doubt your worth. And every time you think it's getting better, they cut a little deeper. Because in this stage, they're no longer idealizing you. They're dismantling you. Piece by piece. Until you forget who you were, before they rewrote your identity. Stage 3, Gaslighting. The reality reversal. Now comes the mind game that makes you question everything. Gaslighting. It's not just lying, it's psychological erasure. They'll say things didn't happen when they did. That you misunderstood. That you're too sensitive. That you have the problem. They rewrite your shared experiences. Your emotions become evidence against you. Your sanity becomes their weapon. You catch them in a lie? They accuse you of being paranoid. You react to the mistreatment? They say you're unstable. Slowly, you begin to distrust your own reality. You rely on them more and more to define it. That's the goal. Because a person who doesn't trust their own mind is easier to control. You might start journaling, recording, obsessing over the truth, desperate to hold on to what's real. But every time you bring proof, they flip the script. And the more you resist, the crazier you feel. This isn't confusion. It's control. Welcome to their version of reality, where truth is whatever keeps them in power. Stage 4, Control, Isolation, Criticism, and Coercion. By now, they've worn you down. And that's when the real control begins. They don't need to shout or demand. They control through silence, shame, and subtle sabotage. They isolate you. From friends, from family, from support. They criticize who you are, who you were, and who you could become. If you're too quiet, you're cold. Too emotional? You're crazy. Too confident? You're full of yourself. So you shrink. And you shapeshift. You start asking for permission, to speak, to feel, to exist. They don't always need to say no. They just raise an eyebrow. And you silence yourself. You walk on eggshells without even realizing it. Because their approval has become your oxygen. And if you step out of line, they threaten to leave. Or worse, withdraw love completely. This is coercive control. And it works by erasing your sense of autonomy. You're not in a relationship anymore. You're in a psychological prison. Built with compliments, locked with guilt. And escape? It starts to feel impossible. Stage 5, the discard. Sudden or strategic abandonment. You never think it'll happen. Until it does. One day, they vanish. Or tell you you're the problem. Or replace you with someone new, without a hint of remorse. This is the discard. Sometimes it's explosive. Sometimes it's eerily calm. But always, it's cold. You're left stunned, broken, obsessing over what went wrong. They move on quickly. Often flaunting a new relationship. The new you. And you're left to wonder if anything was real. Here's the truth, you were never the problem. You were just no longer useful. Narcissists discard when you start seeing through them. You stop feeding their ego, or they find someone shinier to mirror their fantasy. But even after the discard, they often return. Not out of love, but to see if you're still available for control. This is not a clean break. It's a power move. And it leaves deep emotional scars. Because being discarded by someone who once idealized you feels like being erased from existence. Stage 6, the Hoover. When they try to pull you back in. Just when you start to breathe again. They come back. With apologies. With promises. With perfect timing. This is the Hoover. Named after the vacuum, because they're trying to suck you right back in. They might say they've changed. That they've missed you. That they finally understand. They may even cry. But don't be fooled. This isn't about love. It's about access. Access to your energy. Your validation. Your forgiveness. Which they'll weaponize again. Narcissists return not because they've healed, but because they lost control. And want it back. They test your boundaries. Push your empathy. Play on nostalgia. And if you let them in, the cycle starts again. Idealization. Devaluation. Collapse. Each time, worse than the last. So when they resurface, ask yourself, are they reaching out for you? Or, for the power they had over you? Stage 7, the end. Escape, recovery, and the truth. The end of narcissistic abuse is not just a breakup. It's an awakening. You don't just leave a narcissist, you escape them. That escape may be physical. But the recovery is psychological. You'll grieve the illusion, not just the person. You'll rebuild your sense of self, piece by piece. And you'll learn that love should never feel like pain. There will be rage. Relapse. Relief. You'll replay conversations, question memories, doubt your strength. But slowly, clarity comes. You'll recognize the manipulation. You'll name the abuse. And one day, you'll stop explaining yourself. Because you'll realize, you never needed fixing. You needed freedom. The narcissist may hoover. They may smear you. They may pretend they've changed. Let them. You're not who you were when they found you. You're someone who survived. Someone who saw the truth. And someone who chose to heal. That is how it ends. And how your real life begins. Subscribe for more truths that liberate. You are not alone.